gonna hit record. All right.
Okay.
I think it's
So my question is,
just a second. I don't, is it okay? It is. I just want to officially welcome people to the Ask Me Anything Live for today. So go, Ann, you've got a question.
okay. My question is selling a program and telling people that they have lifetime access. What does that mean? What are we promising? Should we use different phrases?
Lifetime access means for the life of the program, not for their life, for the life of the program, right?
Okay.
And you need to have somewhere in your terms. You're not obligated to keep it live. Did we put your documents in place?
I need to go and see. I've done a bunch of stuff. I don't think I've done everything.
Did you you went through my program though, right? So you've got.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did a lot. I did go through and just, put everything in, stuff. And I need to double check with Brad because I gave it all to Brad to put on the website. I should just double check, make sure all of that did there. I did a JV thing where we did most of it, but I didn't put the full term. I did a contract with them that they signed, but I didn't put the sign up, the full, so there's a lot of it's in place, but not absolutely everything.
Not all of it.
Yeah.
So the one thing you could do on your sales page, wherever you're, saying lifetime access or whatever, you could put right beneath that, let's be clear, this means lifetime of the program. This is not guaranteed to be around forever. Something where people are clear. So long as the program is available, they'll have access to it.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, and I know that about products, people say lifetime warranty. It usually means it's that for as long as this product is reasonably, expected to last. So sometimes lifetime legally defined as 7 years, but it doesn't say that anywhere.
I know.
Okay, thank you. All right, I am gonna hop off.
No worries. Good to see you. Thanks for hopping on. Okay, bye-bye. Linda, how are you? Have you recovered from the weekend yet? And hello, Willow. I just want to acknowledge that you're here. Feel free to jump in and ask a question. We've also got Linda here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Linda, do you have a question I can help you with?
Just, I guess, generic questions.
Okay.
I do website design development.
That's right.
I have a lot of times clients starting up, right now I've got one who's starting a new online store. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, do you have specific things that would be applicable to him?
What, can I ask you what he sells? What does he sell through his online store?
He's basically a reseller for medical supplies.
Oh, got it. Okay.
He's not manufacturing anything himself. He's just a reseller.
Got it.
And he's not passing them through to the vendor site. He's closing the business himself and then ordering from the vendor.
Oh, got it. Okay. So they're paying him directly.
Right.
He's ordering. Yeah. So, I mean, he's obviously got a contract in place probably with the manufacturer, right? Or whoever the primary business is. I mean, he should have terms on his own site. That's going to be something that's based on his field, based on the fact that it's medical devices. That's going to depend largely on what those medical devices are, what terms he's going to need to have put on his site. But that's definitely a custom job. So where's he based? Do you know what state he's based out of?
He's in Massachusetts.
Okay. Because I could either look for referrals or I could, set up a consultation, but that's generally going to be, not something that there will be a template for. Yeah.
Can you give me a ballpark of what he might be looking at to have?
Well, it depends. So I'd want to do a website analysis to see is he growing a database? He'd need a privacy policy in place. Is he doing some list building, right? So probably my guess is the answer is yes. If he's sharing information or publishing any information online, which I assume there's some of that which leads to the sale, website terms and conditions covers the publishing aspect and the intellectual property that he's sharing. If he's sharing images, including images that he doesn't own, but the IP is, protected IP of another company. So he'd want terms in place around that. And then the terms of purchase are going to be specific to the sale. For custom work, and covering the basics of what he'd need, including disclaimers. It's going to be tough to find somebody who is able to provide that one-on-one for less than, $2,500 or $3,000, especially in the medical device field. My automated bundles are much lower, but that's because they're really targeted to a specific niche, people who are coaches, consultants, information entrepreneurs,
right,
speakers, authors. But yeah, it's, somebody would need to really analyze his site and his activities and make sure that he's properly covered.
And we're still developing the site. We're hoping to launch sometime in June.
Okay. Well, and I'm happy if you want to drop me an email and give me his address and stuff. I'm also happy to get some referrals. If he wants to talk to some Massachusetts-based attorneys for that, happy to provide referrals.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you. Hello, Stacy. Willow, did you have a question I could help you with? And hi, John. I just want to acknowledge you real quick.
I do. This is so great that you're doing this.
Oh, thank you.
I have to say. This is awesome. Because I was just given your website recently and about what you're doing, and been looking at your website. So this is good to ask direct questions, because I'm not sure which. Well, your program looks really good. The course.
Yep.
And I'm a coach.
Did you also come from the weekend event?
No.
Okay, got it. I didn't know some of the folks. So I just went through a 3-day weekend where I had a special offer for the people in that group. So when you said course, I wasn't sure if you're talking about that or one of the automated ones on my website.
Okay. A friend passed me.
Oh, got it.
Maybe she did your course. I'm not sure. She just, passed your info, and I guess, so I've been coaching for a few months and without a website, without contracts, without anything. And so now I'm stepping back and realizing, okay, this is laying the foundation. This is like step one. I sort of dove in head first.
Totally. A lot of people do. Yep.
Yeah. And so now I'm just wondering so within the course, we get all the documentation. I understand that, it's something we can use. We don't own it, but we get all the terms and conditions for the website. Developing courses, it would protect that as well. Correct, right? So
right.
So this is another question. So I live in Europe. I'm American, but so all my clients, and they're around the world, but essentially they're mainly in the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my business is online. Does that matter about any of this?
Can I ask you a few questions about that?
Sure.
Do you have a business entity set up? Like, have you registered a business entity? Okay.
Nothing.
Do you have any personal assets? Meaning, do you own a home? Do you have money in the bank? Do you have, okay. Because
no, not a lot.
Where do you pay your taxes? US?
US. So California is where I have an address that I could use, that I have mail sent to. That's a permanent address. It's just, I'm mainly residing in Portugal.
Yeah. No, understood.
So I didn't know where to set up.
Yeah, totally. Do you have plans to move or relocate or become a citizen of another country?
No.
There's Portugal. No. Okay. So probably
I live here most of the year.
Got it. If your plan then is to really stay rooted to the US, like have a home base there, a home address, et cetera, continue paying taxes there, probably setting up a US based business is going to be best.
Okay.
At that point you might look at, does California make sense? It's, if you've got personal residence there, maybe it makes sense. But if your business is not really based there, it may make sense to look at other options like Wyoming or an alternate state. If you can set up a mailing address, a bank account, like you have to have a nexus to the state. But I have some international clients who live around the world, and like several of them have Wyoming based businesses. And so there are options for you, but if you don't have personal assets to protect, most clients, I tell them, set up a business entity, like really treat your business like a business. Without a formal business entity, all your personal assets are at stake. But if you don't have personal assets, right? Then it's, if you, and you don't have a budget for legal stuff, like I totally understand that. I'm a practical person. Some people are just judgment proof, meaning that they could bring risk into their life through business. And even if they got a judgment against them, it wouldn't be collectible. Not that you'd want to go that route. If you do have a budget to do an entity formation and actually set up a business and have business bank accounts separate from your personal account, etc., I always recommend that route as option one if people can do it. But if not, and you're like, you know what, I expect that I will actually have assets and be building income, you know, in a year or two, you know, fine. That, you know, if you really don't have anything to be put at risk, then I'm totally willing to have that conversation as well. But, you know, generally I'd like for people who are really actively engaged in business, I like to see a separate entity set up for that.
Okay. And like an LLC.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
This would be a good fit for the consulting and coaching model.
Okay. And then in the state, potentially Wyoming, which I did research, and that was the top state for tax reasons. Okay. So your course would be the best thing though, to do that and get everything.
Yeah. To get your online, and I assume you're talking about the website protection package.
That one.
Yeah, that really is the one. I mean, for most coaches and consultants, their online business tends to be their home base, right? It's where information about them lives. It's where they go live if they've got pages set up to do that. It's where they, you know, publish a lot of information, create coursework that is accessible in the online world. And so, you know, there's different ways that we connect websites, including membership sites, to create our online platform. But my bundle's really designed to walk people through how you set that up, what best practices are for the use of your documentation, where those things should live, how to achieve constructive notice, all of that. And I mean, if you're ready to go through it, I will say, and it's open to anybody who's on this call, if you're thinking about website protection, is that I do have a course coming up that's a live workshop in 2 weeks. And so I've made a pretty reduced offer on the website protection package for those that want it and want it accessibly. It's just delivered in a group format, you know, but it's live. You get to ask questions, all of that. So I'm happy to share that. Yeah, I'm happy to share that page with you because it's kind of a hidden page on my site that's got a live checkout right now. But it's a great option for people who are ready and also, you know, want it at a fairly accessible price and want the one-on-one. Well, I mean, it's a group format, but want the ability to ask questions and get feedback and stuff.
Right. And does it include any contracts by chance?
Yeah, it includes all the documentation, which are contracts for your website. It doesn't include like one-on-one coaching or consulting service contracts or agreements. That's
okay.
I can send you some separate links on my site. There's whole bundles set up around protecting the work, but there's also one-on-one like individual templates that are available.
Okay. So those would be like a la carte or something.
Yeah, you can. I mean, for people, the bundles are by far the best values. All of my bundles, I pack a lot in there. And so it gives people lots of room to grow. But what I have found is that people in this space really do similar kinds of things. So for example, the working package, which has the consulting and coaching agreements in it, also has speaking agreements, also has some sample publishing agreements, also has interview release forms. Like there's a ton of documentation because people generally end up doing very similar kinds of things with their business models, right? May not be this year, but it's probably relatively soon for people that are really active in that space. So I'm happy to drop some links in. I've got
into the chat.
Yeah, totally. So I mean, you can start by checking out individual templates here. You know, they are, again, these documents are really tailored to this niche, meaning that they're designed to work really well, just basically right out of the box. And my goal is that for people that don't have the budget to hire attorneys one-on-one to do all of this for them, they get a very, very high level functioning tool right from the start. And that's the problem with some of the, you know, what I'll call big box providers. They're not tailored to a specific niche. They're not, you know, it's the world at large. And that doesn't work very well for a lot of people that what I call our information entrepreneurs, really designing whole businesses around their information. The other one though, the bundles link, let me just share this with you because this is where the value is in the bundles. And you'll see, like, if you just go poke around on this page, you scroll down, there's 4 different bundles. And then there's the ultimate one, which is basically all the bundles in one. But you just click into each one and there's a whole list of what's inside of that bundle. So you can get a sense of how these are designed to protect various phases of business. But there's a lot in there.
Great.
Okay. And tell me, what's the nature of your work? You said you're a coach.
Yeah, transformation coach. So one-on-one coach. And I'm working to develop a course right now that I did as a workshop. And I'm just now taking the videos, repurposing them. So that type of thing as well. So selling information in a course and then one-on-one.
And this, I will give you this link. It's really tailored to a specific group, including a group of entrepreneurs that are doing like affiliate relationships, a lot of joint venture work. And so you'll see that it has some additional stuff in here, but the price is phenomenal for what's included. So I'm happy to share that just in case it's a fit.
Great.
Alrighty.
Really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. All right. I see Stacy. I see John C. Kim Martin. Can I help any of you guys with questions?
Hello.
Hi, Stacy.
I'm having withdrawals.
I know, right? It's like so intense spending 3.5 days together, and then boom. It's funny because I was on a mastermind call this morning in a group I belong to, and Jay's in the group, and he popped on, and it was just funny. Like, oh hi, I haven't had enough of you for the past 3 days.
Sure. Yeah, that was amazing. Anyway, so I ended up joining the lounge because the other stuff was a little bit way too much, and I was just thinking, oh, I'm just not going to be able to do it now. And then he came up with that offer at the end, and I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
$100 a month for 2 live calls, being in
access to the community, totally. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and then that's just a stepping stone. I mean, I would have loved to have just been able to do the elite, but I'm not ready. I mean,
totally.
It add all this pressure on me. So I wanted to do your program too, and it's like, it's the same thing. I don't even have my website up, but I mean, once everything gets going, it'll be pretty fast, I'm thinking. I'm doing that podcast thing with Doug, and
oh, that'll be awesome. Yeah,
so I'll be, I don't know if you're still in that.
Well, I just finished. I went through their first round of the course, so I've launched my podcast.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if you have any suggestions of things that you would have done different, like, because I still need to buy my microphone.
And for the podcasting. Yeah, just follow their instructions. They'll walk you through it in the course. It's very, very clear. So they make it super easy.
So then your course, I almost thought I should probably just buy it just to go through your process, because a lot of what I'm going to be doing for my online course is walking people through or organizing their important documents and having it all in one place, right? So it's reviewing their documentation, but also getting the professionals that they need to actually do it. I'm not saying I can do it, but you're kind of doing, I mean, I know you created the documents and stuff, but you're actually, I guess, in your course, right? The live thing, you're helping people to implement the documents, right?
Right. So so they'll be walking through it. I'm going to be reviewing the language with them, talking about the disclaimers, making sure that people are not left to their own devices, because I just know this about legal. People have a lot of resistance around it, or they think like, I can't do it, or I don't want to look at these documents myself, right? Totally get it. So the workshop is designed to be a place where people can show up. They've done a bit of homework beforehand to get prepared for the workshop. And it's not a lot, but it's really understanding where your online assets are at, what you're planning to create, and really, there's so much more than just plugging documents into your online business. You've got to understand data flows. You've got to understand cybersecurity risk. You've got to understand how to protect a payment processor, right? There's a lot of tangential issues that you have to understand just from a business leadership perspective that will change your decision-making and how you run your business, versus somebody thinking they just get to plug a document in, oh, I got a free privacy policy template, I'm covered. No, right? So
how does that work with like podcast guests as an example? So is there something in there that sort of outlines, like, if you're a podcast guest, what you're agreeing to, like, that you can
No, so for podcasting, right, that gets obviously distributed through the various channels, right? So Google Play, Apple Podcasts, etc. But if you're publishing, which most people do, they have a podcast segment of their website where they're publishing, let's call it a weekly podcast episode, right? The content shared through your website. So if somebody accesses your podcast through your website, including the show notes, including any visuals that go along with your podcast, etc. That's all of that IP is going to be protected through your website terms and conditions, right? That have those sections that cover your IP and disclaimers, etc. Yes, they can also access the podcast through other channels. So, for example, if they just happen to come across it on, Apple Podcast. But separate from that, you're going to want, so for people who are regularly podcasting, like you may implement an interview release form as part of your process so that people are signing off on the content that you create together on the podcast. And it gives your business the rights to use it in your marketing efforts, use that recording in other ways in your business. And so that's something where, like now that you've gone through my initial training, the 5-bucket framework, it's where I talk about every exchange of value in your business, right? Having a podcast guest onto your podcast is an exchange of value. You probably need a contract in place to cover that exchange. So that's where an interview release form would serve you really well.
And that's something else, though. That's above and beyond that.
That's not included in the website protection package. Yep. So the website protection package is really about your online website and platform. If you go to the individual templates link, the interview release form can be found here on this page, right there. So, people, depending on what other work they're doing in their business, right? It usually goes much, much beyond just your online presence. You've got offline work. You probably have one-on-one client services. Maybe you're going to run group workshops, right? Some of that takes place offline. So there's other contracts and documents that would be involved there.
So once I'm working with a project manager this week, project management. I think once I have it all laid out, then I really would have an opportunity to see where all my contracts need to come, because if I want to be able to have professional, so I want to have the joint venture things. So the joint venture included in that one that you were saying? That's part of that.
And I'm just going to comment to other guests on the show because I see we have people dropping off. John C., if you've got a question, you can type it in the notes. Otherwise, we will get to you next. Miss JV Calgary. Yep. Oops, somebody's calling to my phone. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you, John, for your patience. Well, let me try to answer Stacy's question and then I'll move to you next.
Yeah. So just basically, if I want to have professionals, so I want to do the joint venture thing, that's one thing. But then I also want to have professionals, a relationship where exchange of value, we're talking about if they're referred to them and do some kind of split arrangement.
If you make referrals.
Yeah, referrals.
Some industries will allow that, some won't. So for example, as an attorney, I can't pay referral fees or share any portion of legal fees as a licensed attorney, right? So you just have to know your industry and the professionals that you're working with, but understand that that's not going to be a model that fee payment model doesn't fit for a lot of licensed professionals because there are often rules of professional conduct that, or licensing regulations that go against that. But you just want to explore that with whoever you're working with.
But in your case, like you do the affiliate links.
Just for the automated portion, online, like automated portion of my business, not for traditional legal services. Two totally different business models, two different worlds.
Okay, so in the traditional sense of the word, if I had a client primed for your services, could there be an arrangement that's more like on a marketing fee, where it's like I'm doing the marketing for you, bringing you the customer? Is there like a
there are some ways, and I would just need to look in Washington how that works. Like if there's a limit, you can pay like what's called a reasonable marketing fee. So whether that's 25, what would you pay Google for a single hit to the website that turns into a lead, right? $25, $35. So
how does that, that's not motivating, right? Like if I'm bringing a primed ready to.
Right. So I don't ask people, I'm always just really upfront that like if people, want to use me as a referral because they think I'm going to take great care of clients, that's awesome. But I never have paid people for referrals because to me, it's also an ethical issue, even if it is a marketing fee.
Right.
You know, and it's the way the traditional legal industry was set up. It's to protect the consumer, right? Because if the consumer doesn't know that a fee is changing hands behind the scenes, they might think, oh, you're providing that referral because you just really believe Heather's going to take care of me and she knows her stuff.
Right.
It changes if money's changing hands.
So my thing is more for on a different thing where it's like financial, doing like legal estate planning and stuff like that, reviewing a trust and things like that. So is it legal to do where they become sponsors of the show and then they're just paying a sponsorship fee?
Might be. Every attorney is depending on their state rules, depending on the licensing regulations in their state, may approach this a little bit differently. Like BNI, I wouldn't even attend a BNI meeting because that's a quid pro quo system, which just straight out of the gate we're prohibited from participating in.
Okay.
But you'll find some attorneys participating in BNIs. I would never do it because it doesn't make sense at all when I read my professional rules of conduct.
Right.
So it just, that's why I say we just get back to square one with, you'll have to explore that with the individual providers that you want to provide referrals to.
All right, good. I'm just assuming, and I may be wrong, that you'll have offers again at the next JVology Live sayings, and maybe I'll be in a better position then to.
Yeah, no worries. I can't promise that the offer is going to stay the same because I'm, doing a lot of experimenting in the marketplace, but obviously
it'll get better.
What was that?
It'll get better. Everybody's
maybe the conversion will. I can't go much lower on price. I mean, somebody who watched me last time, Charisse, noticed that it bumped up $100, and that's just because of the amount of effort that it actually takes to deliver this.
Well, it's just value. I mean, I think you've got a super great product and a great market niche and everything. So I appreciate
I appreciate that.
I just like to listen. So
no worries. So John, hop on. Let me see if I can help you for a minute. It says, missed, as a retired project manager myself, joint venture bank accounts have saved me a lot of post-project haggling. Joint venture bank accounts. And you must be talking about joint ventures on the scale of either like a separate business entity or like a really formal project setup. And you're welcome to unmute yourself if you want to talk. And if you're not in a place that you can do that, I totally understand. Question on digital assets, power of attorney, and do you have any thoughts on Canadian differences from working with Jay? Can you explain that a bit more? I guess I don't. It's kind of an open-ended question on digital assets, power of attorney. Do you have any thoughts on Canadian differences from working with Jay?
Hi, Heather.
Oh, there you are. Let's see if I can hear you. Kind of quiet.
I'm sorry, no camera.
There we go.
Today, but I got to know you watching you with Jay Fissette.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. So you were at the 3-day event that we just.
No, I would have even liked to have attended online. I just had a lot going on and I missed it.
Totally understand.
I've been trying to catch up with you. You book your question sessions. It seems to happen whenever there's something going on I can't avoid.
I get that too. Our schedules are pretty crazy these days.
And there's something about your notice that I could be wrong, but there's something about your time announcements. Pacific time to East time. Something is on.
So I live in Pacific time, so all of my time. Oh, you just mean as far as when you receive them? Are you on East Coast time?
Yeah. No, there's something odd. I'll try to figure it out, and if there is something wrong, I'll send you a note on it.
Got it. Yeah, because I usually talk PST so that I'm not confusing people labeling both times.
Oh, I lived in Vancouver, Canada for 12 years.
Got it.
I still think Pacific time. Anyway.
Yeah.
Back to what I was hoping to ask you. Your involvement with Jay, Canadian. Is there anything on the Canadian side, legalities, that you picked up from your involvement with Jay and some Canadian there?
I mean, in the online world, there are a few differences. So, especially around privacy. So, if you're on the Canadian side, and John, what's your business? Do you mind me asking?
I'm retired. I'm cooking up a project for myself.
Got it.
And yeah.
Is it going to be online? Is it an online business?
Yes, I had a virtual summit planned. Somebody beat me to the scoop, and they screwed that one up good. But I'm just trying to think of where to go from there.
Well, there's lots of summits. Why do you feel like, is it somebody in your industry? I mean, people have summits all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm working on being able to conduct one. So that aside, no, I had done a lot of the preliminary work, made some contacts when this other summit happened, and it sort of threw it off. But so I have work to do.
Yeah.
Now I interrupted you about the
no, that's right.
Privacy. Anything else?
So in the privacy world, you have to label a specific privacy officer if you're based in Canada. So in Canada, there is PIPA and then PIPEDA, which are both the.
I'm familiar with all this.
So you have to specifically name, you have to identify a privacy officer and have them listed in your online legal documents. You don't have to do that in the States.
Oh, now I see the difference. Thank you.
Yeah.
Legal documents, right. I hadn't thought of it in that context.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, a lot of the same rules apply, meaning that if you're sharing information, if you're publishing information as an expert, which, you know, most of the people that I serve are, they've got audiences that they speak to, they're setting themselves up as an expert, they're sharing really services and information around a body of work that they've developed or a particular, you know, area of expertise that they have. And so, you know, the same core documents for running an online business applies. You've got website terms and conditions, which cover what you publish, put limitations of liability and disclaimers in place. If you're collecting data, which you absolutely should be as an online business, you should just be doing it the right way, right? You need a privacy policy in place. And this is where you have to analyze, you know, where your reach is. Is this going to be folks around the world who are getting into your database, or is it geographically limited? Are you restricted just to the US or US and Canada? You have to know your audience. You need privacy policies in place for that. And beyond privacy policies, you need privacy practices that comply with those policies and comply with the rules. And then if you're selling information, you've got an online sales funnel, you're selling maybe digital products, online information, you know, pre-recorded courses, etc. Maybe a summit, maybe you're selling people into a summit. Maybe you're selling people into live services. Regardless of what you're providing, you need terms of purchase that cover the sale, cover the intellectual property that's going to be exposed as part of that transaction, put limitations of liability and disclaimers in place for that work, and then, you know, cover a variety of other things like your refund policy, etc. So there's very specific things, but, you know, the language can be a little bit different depending on the area of expertise, right? A health or nutrition person is going to need a disclaimer that's really tailored to health and nutrition versus, you know, somebody in the financial services like Stacy. So, you know, but generally the rules of the game are very similar, and you need similar legal documentation in place to protect your online activities. But I say that, you know, recognizing that I serve a very specific niche of the market. These are coaches, consultants, online educators, speakers, and authors, people whose business models look very, very similar. I'd be having an entirely different conversation with somebody who owned a brick and mortar business and ships widgets around the world, right?
Yeah. You're very generous with your advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That other, I didn't, when I read what I just posted you about joint venture bank accounts, just wipe that off there. I had a thought has been going through my mind with between the pandemic and the geographic distance between people working together online. There seems to be a need for some tools. I don't know that it's a bit of a stretch to try and use a joint venture bank account when you're in different jurisdictions. Now, they're common in the construction industry, which I've done project management in, and I've been able to use them in non-construction jobs where it's a form of setting your financial agreement in place with a bank account, a joint bank account, as opposed a joint venture bank account not a joint account as people think of, like husband and wife and that sort of thing. Are you familiar with joint venture bank accounts in Washington State?
You
Do
know,
they
I'm
have
not.
them there?
I'm not. I've never had one or set one up. I mean, that doesn't mean that they don't exist.
No, I don't know about the US. In Canada, they're available in every province.
Oh, got it. Yeah, it might be a
banking.
Canadian thing. I mean, I
don't
know
know.
that you can set up a joint business bank account here. I don't know that they're called a joint venture account.
Oh, okay. It's likely close.
Yeah, I mean, all anybody could set up a joint a bank account if they just signed on the line with, you know, somebody else at the bank.
How can you can't do it in person though?
Um,
If you're trying to work at great distance, you have to form all, notarized documents or something.
Right. And I know, like, one of my businesses, which is strictly online, I've got an online bank, meaning it's not a location-based bank. So there, you know,
Right.
there may be some options for people.
Okay.
Yeah. It's but you know, most of the joint venture projects that I provide support on for people are really project based. They're not setting up a whole separate entity. It's not a fully formed business. It's like they're testing out a joint venture product or project where they still have their separate businesses doing separate things, but they're bringing joint resources to the table, right?
I don't know, Linda Kay is, I hope I'm not talking too long.
No, Linda asked a question and she's just hanging out with us, but she can pop back on if she's got another question.
I do have another one when you're done.
Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know,
Well,
Linda.
maybe I should, Jay is in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should contact him. He's doing, his whole exercise is about joint ventures.
Right.
And when I saw how you had become involved with him, that's what made me think of this. Well, I just wanted to catch your session here.
Oh yeah, well, I'm glad you popped in. Good luck. I hope you get that summit planned and launched.
He's probably busy right now post.
Probably. He had a very, very busy 3 days, and I was involved with all 3 of those days.
Oh yeah, how did it go? Good.
It was good. It was a great group. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm worn out. I'm just so tired, but that's partly just being a mom of 2 tiny little people.
Yeah, I know. I've been there. Not as a mom, but close.
No, I get it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's thank you for your help. I'll probably tune in another time.
No worries. Happy to have you. Thanks, John.
Okay. Miss Seattle too.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, Linda, I see your question. Do you offer templates that I can tweak and provide to my clients?
I'm gonna pop off.
Okay, Stacy, good to see you. Have a good week.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So Linda, great question. Yes, you're right. There's tons of examples on the internet, but I mean, obviously I would say this, being an attorney and understanding the risk, is that I never recommend people grab anything off the internet unless they know the source, have a license to use it, they've paid for the use of it, right? But I mean, what could work is, and for a lot of people that serve businesses that are in this space, is we actually just set you up with an affiliate account where you have an affiliate link. Your clients would purchase through your link, right? And they would be dropped into the automated part of my business. But that way, they know you, they have a trusted source. I would say that these documents, like I said, are going to work very well for people in the space of consulting, coaching, online education and information, speakers, authors, right? Not work so well for somebody with a widget-based business like the guy you just talked about. So that's a distinction. Those kind of folks would need probably one-on-one custom support from an attorney. I might be able to help get them pointed in the right direction, but largely brick and mortar, manufacturing companies, widget shippers are not my clients. Oh, you're muted. Tricky Zoom. I did that like 100 times this weekend.
So for those coaches, consultants, because I do a number of those too.
Yep.
What kind of price point are we really talking at for them to, not going to want to attend a workshop. They just want me to do it for them.
Oh, I'll be honest, they're probably not my client. If they're not up for attending a workshop, because my workshop is way more than just the documents. And the people who want to just have a quick fix and plug a privacy policy in from the internet, like, they're really not my clients. The folks who are really interested in learning how to lead their business, stay out of legal trouble, make sure that they're building their online business the right way, those are my clients, but they're pretty serious about it. They know that they're not going to get that information for free on the internet. They,
Right.
you know, they understand the value of investing, but I have priced it so that it's way better than going and hiring an attorney one-on-one for this support. And it's very, very high level support, meaning that I've developed these documents working with people who make millions of dollars of business a year in their business. But I've turned those documents into templates for people that are working in the same space and are driven to grow those kinds of businesses. Whether they make $500,000 a year, $700,000 a year, or $3 million, the protections are the same. The online activities are the same, right? It's, but the potential pitfalls of not having your intellectual property covered, the potential pitfalls of putting that stuff at risk, the people are usually stuck on the wrong question, which is, what can I afford at this point? And my response is, you plan for where you're headed, not where you are. If you're always going to be at this level, fine, don't pay anything for legal services. Like, I get it. And I wouldn't recommend that you are. But for people that are really planning on doing something with their business, I mean, and just by way of a few client examples, like, I've had clients who didn't have legal support the early part of their journey and thought like, oh, I'm just not big enough yet, or, you know, I'm not really at the stage of thinking about it. And so what happens is, the one who developed a signature program started making millions of dollars per year based on that single program, just one of the offerings in his business, can't get a trademark, can't actually own the name of his signature program because he didn't look into it in time. And a school in the middle of Arkansas actually owns the name to the program. Right? So one small thing of just like choosing not to look in the box. And that's what I describe people as, like, people just don't want to look inside of the legal box because they just have so many fears about what's in there. And it's not that hard. And I try to make it really simple as a way for people to get a lot of support for a relatively minor investment, but it's going to serve them very, very well for the life of their business if they do it right.
So the workshops, this is a one-day thing, a couple hours?
Yeah, a couple hours. So my website protection workshop is right now designed to be between 3 and 4 hours. Partly depends how many breaks we take, but you know, it takes a little bit for people to hear the information and be able to digest it. So I want to allow for enough time to at least do a quick walk through each of the documents, allow for questions, and then do some topic trainings at the very end. And so like this workshop, which is my current offering to the group, and I'll pop it down here, down below, it also includes the JV Ready upgrade, right? So for folks that are doing affiliate work, like they're wanting to put an affiliate program in place, they want other people to mail on their behalf, they want other people to help enroll people into their programs. It's a really, really essential component of being online if you're using affiliates. So it's a, you know, the whole package right now. I mean, people can get this, I think, for $9.44, get their full online platform protected plus the JV and affiliate stuff. I mean, a client who comes and buys that right now off of my website would pay about $2,500 just for the automated version. And that, for the affiliate and the JV stuff, that's just for the documentation, no training. And then the done for you jumps up another level just because of the amount of time it takes to implement that for somebody. So this is
the workshop, the 2 or 3 hours, they're actually like have enough information to fill these forms out themselves. And
they should probably actually be filled out. Like the form should be basically done by the end of the workshop. And then they'll have all the instructions about how to get those plugged in, what they need, how to do that the right way, how to achieve constructive notice so that legally they're basically in compliance. Because there's an issue around, well, if people don't realize there's legal terms on your site, how do they actually apply, right? So we talk about constructive notice and best practices. And this is really what distinguishes people who want a Band-Aid solution for a much larger problem, which is to say that they just want, a privacy policy or free template they can plug in and they think like, oh, I'm good. It's a much different mindset than somebody who's like, you know what, I really want to understand what it takes to be in business and grow this online business the right way and also do planning for the long term.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Please let me know if you've got any other questions. No worries. John popped off. All righty. Well, great questions, Linda. I hope you take a little time to rest and recover from 3 intense days over the weekend.
Yeah, it's been fun. And then I get to do it all again in another
Do you
couple
have
of
another
days.
event coming up?
Yeah, doing the Suzanne Evans one.
Oh, I bet a lot of people are. I'm sure there's a lot of overlap actually between those two groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
I know I might pop in and out of it a few times. We'll see what my schedule looks like. All right. Well, I think I'm going to sign off, you guys. Great to see you all. Linda, take care. Let me know if I can help you or support you in any other way. And if you're interested in more information on the affiliate stuff, just let me know.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye-bye.